Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 31 of the Rock and Roll Beer Guy podcast. This episode is brought to you by Gamefly. If you go to rockandrollbeerguy.com, you'll see a link there that says Gamefly offer. Click it, and you'll get a free 30-day trial where you can rent one game out at a time from their selection of over 8,000 titles. You go to the website, you select your games, and they ship it straight to your house. It couldn't be any easier. This podcast is also brought to you by our friends in Phantom Carriage Brewery. Phantom Carriage is a horror-themed brewery, blendery, taproom, eatery. It's fun for everyone. They've got a movie theater inside playing horror movies. They got tremendous beers and really great food. I'm there at least once a week. Next time you're in the area, stop in, go to the bar and mention the podcast, and you'll get 10% off your bill. This episode is actually going to be a SWAPCAST with Michael Hill of Everything Went Black Media. He's also the mastermind behind the band Tombs and Savage Gold Coffee. This is an idea I got from Burt Kreischer and Doug Stanhope, where they both posted the same episode on each of their podcast channels. So you'll find this episode on Everything Went Black Media, as well as the Rock and Roll Beer Guy feed. We ask each other a bunch of questions, get to know each other even more. We share a bunch of stories and our thoughts on the McGregor-Mayweather fight, as well as the UFC, and a bunch of other topics. I had a really good time talking to him, and I hope you guys enjoy. Cheers.
So just having all the gear available just made it easier to do podcasts and things like that.
For sure. I've been I record the Skype call off the laptop using Audacity.
Yeah,
but I've been thinking about switching that up because it just I get a lot of hiccups when it comes to recording the Skype conversation. You'll hear like the data just cut out, so I have to spend hours editing the podcast on Pro Tools, making sure that all that shit is gone, because I really don't think people need to hear that.
Yeah, definitely. Do you think it's Audacity, or it's just the internet connection, or what do you think the source is?
I just think it's a laptop, dude. I think the laptop can't handle recording and operating Skype all at once.
Yeah, you're probably right about that. That's why it's I use either a lot of lately I've just been using my phone and just routing it into a channel. And then, the computer is just running Pro Tools, and it's I haven't had any issues really. I mean, there's inherent issues of just recording a Skype conversation in and of itself, but overall, I think it turned out pretty good so far.
Yeah, hell yeah. Yeah, I got to figure it out. I got to figure out what cable I need, but
yeah. Well, which version of iPhone do you have, or which what phone?
I use a Samsung Galaxy S7.
Okay, so you have an actual eighth inch headphone out on that, right?
Yeah. So I got to get that into at least a quarter inch, and then plug that into my Pro Tools M box. Yep, which is what I'm using.
Yeah, it's exactly it, and it's just you can get an adapter or something like that and just run it in. Yeah, that's what I do usually, and you don't even need the stereo signal. You can just use one side.
Yeah. Fuck, I'm stupid.
There's all kinds of ways to do it. I mean, for a while I was just making a QuickTime movie out of just the audio. I would just use FaceTime or whatever and just record it that way. And that was cool, but you don't have any control over the levels of because you're just using the mic on the laptop. So
yeah. Well, right now I'm actually I just upgraded and got the Zoom H4n so I can record myself.
Oh, those are great. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's also opened up the possibilities of me going to people's houses and recording way more efficiently than I was,
Yeah, that's a great. I have one of those too. They're rad. I use those too. I've recorded episodes out, in the world with people, and that's perfect for that. It's nice. You can make an MP3 right out of the. I mean, you can create an MP3 or a WAV file or whatever, and. I use it as a boombox down at the practice space too sometimes, just to record ideas with the band and everything.
Yeah.
Dude, so it's good hearing from you, man.
Yeah, man, it's been a while.
Yeah.
It's been a long time. I mean, last time I saw you was it was in Miami for sure.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to remember what show it was I showed up to. I think it was Churchill's.
Yeah, it was probably 1349 then. So it was like almost 2 years ago. At this point.
Yeah. It's been 2 years. Shit.
That's why I guess like I always associate you with living in Miami. Like I haven't quite settled in with you as a dweller in the Southern California. So
yeah, it was my life for 20 years, man. You know, the Miami Yeti, according to Andrew.
Are you originally from Miami? No, right?
No, I'm actually from Jersey.
Oh shit, I didn't know that. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I was born in Jersey City, and then at the age of 15, I was forced to move to Miami because situations got a little hairy for my father figure.
Okay.
He was involved with some bullshit and got arrested, and we all had to move to Miami. And yeah, and then Miami was supposed to be temporary, like a year, maybe 2. Maybe I'll just finish high school. Maybe I'll finish college. Oh, God damn it, I've been here for 20 years. You know, like that was the
yeah.
That was the way that worked out. Even though I wanted to get out of there sooner, man. It's just, you know, you get tied up, girlfriends and friends and bands and, you know, all that shit.
So. Oh yeah, definitely, man. It's like you just end up getting like. It just seems like sometimes it seems like you're trapped somewhere, and then like you need something drastic to change, you know, to make a change in your life so you can move ahead, you know.
Yeah, and it's funny because I've heard that before. Like you hear it all the time, you know, just fucking do it, make a change, whatever. But it's real, dude. I mean, within a year of me being out here, I've done a lot more productive shit than I was doing in Miami, you know.
So what brought you to California? Just a change of pace? Or?
So the trip actually all happened because my girl got a job at Activision.
Okay.
And that's been her fantasy, like, you know, her dream, not fantasy. That sounded weird. Her dream. It was her dream to work in the video game industry because she was working retail at like Hot Topic. She was a manager there for years, and she just wanted out, and they gave her that job offer. And I was like getting pretty close to wanting to move out of there anyway. I was making enough money where, like, I think we could save up and make this happen. You know, we got a lot of help from my uncle and a couple people that really helped us out getting this going. But at the end, it all worked out, you know, and it was perfect. So I had a pretty good resume with what I've done in the beer industry. So I figured I'd get a job right away, which I did. And yeah.
So who are you working for out there now in California?
Well, right now I'm with Iron Triangle Brewing, which is in the downtown LA area.
Uh-huh.
And, you know, just doing that thing for now. I'm just starting to get to the point, man, where I've been doing this for so long, like 7 years. I feel like I need to change it. At least I could still be in the beer industry, but I feel like I need to make a change in position. Like I can't just keep pounding the pavement every day. It's starting to get, you know, wearing on me.
Yeah, totally. So now I know you're, you know, your love of metal and hard rock and all this other stuff, and you know, and obviously your love for good beer. So hence your podcast, which kind of combines both of these aspects of your life into one sort of like expression. So how many episodes do you have up at this point? You got like four or 5 episodes, I think.
I'm at 30, man.
Oh Jesus, 30! My God, how the hell did I miss that?
I posted about it yesterday. I'm like, God damn, it took me a second. I woke up and I'm looking. I'm like, Jesus, I had 30?
Wow.
Like, what? So I decided to put a little graphic together with everybody's face and like, thank you for 30 episodes.
Oh,
I
man.
really did not expect 30 episodes.
Because I listened to the one with Liam. I heard the one with Liam, and I only heard
that
a
one
few
sounded like shit, man. I got to redo that one with Liam. I told him, I'm like, we need to do this again because I fucked up when I was recording that, and his voice was all distorted. So I feel bad about that episode, but I got to redo it for sure.
Yeah, it's all learning, man. Geez, honestly, it's like I go back to listening to like some of my old episodes, and I just sound like such a tool. Like, just even the way I talk, it's not even like the technical stuff, and the technical stuff's a shitty too. I mean, you know, the first episode of this podcast was like done at a diner with like one of those Zoom recorders, and like. You can hear people talking in the background. You can hear the waiter asking if we want more coffee, like stuff like that. And it was just like, you know, you just don't know what the hell you're going to do until you do it. You know what I mean?
Sure. But that sounds cool, actually. I'd like to, you know, I guess it brings you into that world where you were recording that. You know, like you hear all those ambient sounds, it actually puts you in that vibe. Like especially for what I use podcast, which is driving. You know, it puts you in that zone and kind of distracts you from the LA traffic. You know?
Yeah, definitely. But you know, it's like it's not the most professional thing, you know. And these days, you know, with so with so many of these out there, it's like I feel like you have to kind of pay attention to the technical aspects of doing this thing. You know, there's a lot of other people doing it with, you know, better equipment and, you know, more resources and that kind of stuff.
For sure, man. You got to stay on top of the game. Yeah, it's devoured my life so far, man. Just everything I do now, I try and make it for the, you know, so that it helps the podcast in a good way. You know, like, all right, I got a few extra bucks. I'm going to go buy fucking little microphone sponges, those little fucking pop filters.
Yep.
I need those. I need to get a little mic stand so I don't have to hold the mic the entire time. You know, stuff like that. Like I'm just little by little upgrading the studio and trying to use some of the sponsorship money that I'm getting just to make it better, get better hosting, all that shit.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. I guess I'm fortunate in a way because I already had, like I was saying earlier, a lot of this kind of like equipment laying around just from, you know, doing band stuff, you know what I mean? Like mic stands and mics and things like that. So,
yeah. How you started Tombs in 2007, but like, were you in bands? Like what other bands were you in before that? I'm sure you were doing something.
Yeah, I've been playing in bands my whole life actually. So it's like, and you know, it's varying degrees of success. And, right immediately before Tombs, I was in this band called Versoma, which was, kind of like, in like the softer elements of Tombs, I guess, is similar to what Versoma was doing, like a little bit more kind of you know, shoegaze kind of gothic kind of vibe to it, and but without like the metal aspects of Tombs, and that's kind of like more what Versoma sounded like. And prior to that, I was in a band called Anodyne, which that band was around for like probably close to 10 years. Well, not 10 years, maybe like 7 or 8 years. And we were like very much into, you know, Today's the Day and Unsane and, you know, Brutal Truth. And
nice.
Yeah, like real discordant, like, you know, Rorschach was like a big influence, Black Flag. You know, we operated in the DIY, like hardcore scene, and we played with, that was like pretty much the scene we played in, but the influences were more along the lines of like, you know, Brutal Truth, you know, Today's the Day, like Dead Guy, like that sort of thing, you know. And you know, before that I did a bunch of other stuff, you know, just like no one ever really heard about. So
yeah, man. You mentioned Anodyne, so that was up in New York, right?
Well, part of it was in New York and part of it was in Boston. Like I lived in Boston for a number of years back in the 90s. Oh, okay. And yeah, part of the band started up there, and then me and the bass player relocated down to New York, in Brooklyn, and that's where we grabbed our new drummer Joel, and who's a California transplant, and then that was kind of like the lineup, I guess, that did the most stuff and recorded the most material and was out on the road the most, you know, and sort of. I guess for me, when I think of the band, I think of that lineup with the 3 people in it, you know?
Sure. It's funny. There's a band in Florida, in Miami, called Anodyne that my buddies are in. But I don't think they were, you know, it definitely wasn't you. And it definitely didn't sound like what you're describing. Like they were doing Dream Theater type music. They were just big prog nerds.
Well, that's cool.
So like I mean, they're all super talented. I just... you know, keyboardist was out of control. His name was Mike too.
Oh,
that was funny.
There you
go. But yeah. I don't think they got out of Florida though. Like they did no touring or anything.
Yeah. I mean, Anodyne wasn't. You know, we were on all the labels that we released material on are all now out of business. So it's like, you know, I actually I started a Bandcamp that has all the stuff that I have at least available. And
that's cool.
You know, people have been checking it out and downloading it, and I'm actually recording like an audiobook too, which is like basically my tour journals from the first like piece that's going to go out there. Is like we did a European tour, and that was like a really big sort of learning experience on how not to do things. You know what I mean? And so that's why that I started there with like chronicling the ins and outs of that band, because it was a lot of like misery and like funny shit happened on the road. And so yeah, that's I've been giving away chapters because I'm doing a Patreon for the podcast, and the subscribers on Patreon get free chapters as I finish them. And then probably like I'll probably be done with this in like maybe a week or two, and surely by like October I'll release the whole thing just via Bandcamp, and people could download it. And it'll be like $4 or $5 or something like that. Nothing too crazy. But yeah, just getting the stories out there I think is important, you know.
Hell yeah, that's really cool that you're doing that. I mean, you gotta. It's. I'm always thinking of ways to produce content, you know, and that's a good way, man. Like that sounds very interesting.
Yeah, you know, it's like, I'm one of these guys who writes in a journal every day, and I have like, you know, pages, thousands of pages of the details and day-to-day stuff of all the bands I played in, and even Tombs. I mean, Tombs, even on the Everything Went Black website, you can find like text versions of tour journals and stuff on there too. And but you know, the way people consume media these days, videos and like podcasts and like audio and stuff like that really seems to be the way people are getting into stuff. So hence the idea of doing like audiobooks or things like that, you know.
Yeah, less reading.
Yeah. You know, and like
less reading is definitely happening. Like even me, I love reading books, man, but I read a lot less now. Whatever I read is online.
Yeah. Unfortunately, yeah. I think that's destroyed my eyesight too, believe it or not, is reading stuff on screens.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah. It's not good for us. We're just constantly staring at our computers, and especially like you or myself, like we're sitting there working too on the, you know, on the podcast or whatever. It's not just the casual, like, you know, let me read whatever nonsense is on Facebook or whatever. You know? Yeah,
but I do still like the tactile experience of holding a book, though. Like I like looking at the artwork and, you know, seeing things like,
of course,
like that 3-dimensional world is still something I really enjoy. You know.
Yeah. Do you know who Skinner? Is it Skinner that's doing it? Yeah, it is Skinner. You know the artist Skinner? He's done work for like Mastodon, a couple other people. Mm-hmm. He's releasing a pop-up book, like old school, like, you know, when you were a kid, you open it and shit, you could pull tabs and stuff like that. But he's doing it for adults. It's like all H.P. Lovecraft, Cthulhu themed, and like you know, all the different stories from H.P. Lovecraft. And yeah, it's pretty sick. It's on his website, I think. I almost pre-ordered it, but kind of trying to make sure I have everything else taken care of first.
Yeah, dude, tell me about it. It's like I live like a pretty week to week existence, so it's like at least for this last year and a half, it's been very like touch and go as far as expenses and finances go. But yeah, sometimes like, you know, luxuries like that have to wait. You know what I mean? Until you got your bills covered before you can go out and buy like cool books and things. You know.
For sure, man. I mean, wait, aren't you saying? Are you telling me that being in a band isn't like a lot of money? You're not like filthy rich?
I know it's hard to believe that we're not, you know, millionaires off of making, you know, blackened metal or whatever. You know what I mean? Like dark metal or whatever the hell you want to call it, what we do. You know, but yeah.
Well, you also got Savage Gold Coffee. How's that going for you?
It's going slow but steady. Let's put it this way. You know what I mean? It's like. There's like a lot of really cool stuff going on, but you know, as you know, like starting up any kind of like brand, especially in the food and beverage industry, it takes a long time to like really like establish yourself as not a fly by night. You know what I mean? And right. Yeah, I mean, there's like, yeah, I give respect to all the customers out there, man. I mean, I have a lot of very, very loyal customers, and I appreciate that deeply, you know, but to get to the point where it's like comfortable in the profit margins, it really takes a lot of time to develop that. And that's kind of like the difference between like having commitment to something and just looking for like a quick buck, you know what I mean? And for me, it's like, you know, it's been a little bit over 2 years, like 2.5 years I've been doing this, and it's like that's really nothing compared to like what other companies go through to establish themselves. I mean, you know, a brand I talk about all the time is On It, you know, and they existed for 5-6 years before anyone even knew who the hell they were, man, with their supplements and everything, you know, kind of
Yeah.
So, I mean, it takes a while, but, you know, like I said, slow and steady. You just got to keep plugging away. You got to keep grinding. You got to keep, you know.
You need that Joe Rogan bump.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, that's you know, you need some guy like Joe Rogan to be like, hey, man, check out Savage Gold Coffee. And then you get like 1 million people buy it.
Overnight, you have to quit everything else you're doing and make coffee 24/7.
Yeah. You know. But that's what I mean, though. It's like, you know, all the little corny expressions, like, you know, luck is like when opportunity and preparation meet. You know, it's like, I kind of live by that, though. You know what I mean? It's like, be prepared. And then when an opportunity arises, you're ready to step it up. And that's kind of like how I've been approaching everything, even the coffee company. It's like, you got to make sure the product is solid. You got to make sure you got your game plan in place. And then when an opportunity arrives, then you can you know, exploit that opportunity. You know, it's like, you have to like, that's what I mean. That's why the grind is important. You know, you just got to keep like plugging away.
Keep working. You got to keep working. I mean, if you keep working, you'll see results, right? I mean, I really hope I'm not just being like, I hope I'm not just eating shit my whole life, and then at the end it's like, yeah, it didn't really work out.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, that's there's certain things though that might be the case. Like, for example, like doing anything creative, it's like musically, it's like there's no guarantee that you can work as hard as you want at your band, but if you're not, you know, for whatever reason, if it's not something that people want to listen to or check out, then you're not going to be financially secure with it. But that's, I guess, like being able to modify my ideas of what success means. You know, it's like success is like not necessarily like financial success. Success is more of like a creative thing. And when you let go of the idea of it being a financial thing, then that somehow that falls into place in some ways. You know what I mean? It's like with Tombs, I never really wanted to pay attention to things like, you know, oh yeah, how many records are we selling? Like, you know, does anyone even like the band? Like that kind of stuff. And it's like, that's not to say that I'm not grateful for fans of the band, but it's always been my goal to like write music and create stuff that's like interesting to me. And then when you do that, somehow it might take a long time, but somehow all this other stuff just sort of follows suit if you're true with what your creative, you know, ideas are, you know?
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how it has to work that way. I mean, if you're going into it with the idea of just making money right away, like you're already doomed to fail. You might succeed at making a bunch of money, but like that's never going to bring you any kind of joy. I mean,
yeah, absolutely. You know, it's like, you know, they're, you know, not trying to be like sour grapes or anything like that, but there's like, you know, there's bands out there that I know are doing the style of music because it's popular. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure.
And
yeah, you got to switch your sound to make more money sometimes, you know?
Yeah, and that's great for them. But like for me, I'd rather not. I mean, if a million, you know, hey, I'm not going to throw away any kind of, you know, fandom or like financial success. But like I said, it's not necessarily the goal. The goal is to write powerful music. And if that follows suit, then it does. So I'm not thinking about making compromises to get, I mean, we're going to add breakdowns to our songs because I think more people will like it, which is, they probably would, you know, I mean, kids love breakdowns and there's a whole style of music based around breakdowns. And it's like, you know, if that's something that you want to do and be creative with, great. But if you're doing it just so you can get fans and recognition and sell t-shirts and all that sort of stuff, then that only hangs in there for like a brief period of time. And then at the end of the day, those fans who are into that thing for that period of time in their lives move on, they forget about you. And that's kind of like, I see that happening to people all the time, you know? Yeah.
For us, like my band, Dissever, we ended up writing some of the newer stuff we've been writing. Definitely has a couple parts in there that we threw in because we were like, you know, it would just be fun to just be able to have this blast beat. We've never done blast beats. But you know what? This part of the song's going to have a blast beat because fuck it.
Yeah.
And then it's going to fucking have a little tiny breakdown, but we'll fuck with it time signature wise just to like We'll get you to start moshing, and then you'll have to think about it for a few minutes.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's a breakdown on the Grand Annihilation. I mean, there's like that song, Black Sun Horizon. There's a breakdown on that song. But my favorite band when it comes to breakdowns was Burnt by the Sun / River Black. Like,
hell yeah.
That band, like, they take that style, like that metalcore style, and have just really expanded it and been really creative within that style, which in some ways can be very stifling for some bands, you know. But yeah, they deliver like interesting songs and then these awesome like dance parts, you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like the best of both worlds with them. Have you heard River Black? Like that's the new Burnt by the Sun band?
Hell yeah, dude. Yeah. Dave Woody's a good friend.
Yeah.
And I actually am going to have John on the show at some
nice.
point. We talked about it, but he's been doing a lot of fishing lately. So
yeah, John's a brewer, man. He's really into brewing. So yeah, it'd be perfect for you.
Yeah. You know, it's funny going back to the podcast. Like when I started the podcast, I had an idea in mind, and it's completely different now. Like the show has evolved beyond what I wanted it to be into something I think it's better. I think.
Well,
at least it's easier for me.
What was your initial idea then?
Well, the first couple episodes, if you look back, the first two, it's a brewer and a guy in a band. That was going to be the concept moving forward. Like I always wanted to have one brewer and one musician, you know, and then we can all talk and share the perspective of both worlds, plus me right in the middle because I've been involved with both for so long, you know. And then that was the concept, but it got harder and harder to schedule people together. It's hard enough to get one person on the fucking phone.
Oh, yeah.
You know, having to get two people on the phone is a pain in the ass. So, like with Liam, we were supposed to do it with Gene from Tired Hands.
Oh, yeah.
Gene had a fucking situation at the brewery, and like I think a tank exploded or something. I don't know. Shit got crazy, and he couldn't make it. And I was like, well, fuck, I'm not going to miss this opportunity to talk to Liam, so let's just talk, you know. And now I think the show now is like, I'm the rock and roll beer guy, you know, personality of like, I have the beer and the music, and then I just talk to whoever the fuck I want about that. Like,
that's cool.
Instead of having the you know, I'd like to still have specialists to talk to each other and everything every once in a while if I can, but if not, it's just me talking to people. Fuck it.
Yeah, I mean, it's the whole medium is a pretty free form, you know, thing. I mean,
yeah,
you know, even like as far as like just the quote unquote interviews, it's like if you go on to like a more like formal traditional show, you know, the interviews are just like these quick bullet points. But you know, in podcasting, you have like long conversations that have like these tangents, and you go off and I feel like you get way more information, like more meaningful dialogue through a podcast than you do in a standard interview, you know. So it's
for sure, yeah. People are starting to evolve into that too. Like a lot of people listen to podcasts because they feel invested in the conversation. Like they connect, I guess, on a certain level. And it's going on in all media. Like movies are down, but TV shows are up because people want more content of that same thing. You know, instead of 1 2-hour movie, you've got a 12-hour fucking series of Game of Thrones. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was tripping out on that recently because, like, I never, like, you know, 20 years ago, I never watched TV, man. Like in the early 90s or whatever, I was just like, I didn't even have a television or a cable thing or anything. I had a TV with a VCR. And I just watched movies. That's it. But movies, it's like the sort of revolution in TV shows, quote unquote, which I think started with like The Sopranos, like way back in the late 90s, and now manifesting now in like these great shows like you know, Game of Thrones and you know, what the great Breaking Bad and Fargo and all this other stuff, is like that long form is closer, it's more content and deeper, you know what I mean? And yeah, movies I think are like kind of like this like I watch a lot of shows more than movies, I think, these days.
Yeah. You know, think about it though. Think about the most successful movies. It's the Marvel movies.
Yeah.
They're succeeding, and they're succeeding because there are now like 12 of them. You know what I mean? And the other successful things, what, Harry Potter? Well, yeah, there's 7 fucking movies. And the Star Wars, you know, we're at 7 movies or 8 of those movies now, plus all the like additional content that, cartoons and whatever else they're doing. So,
yeah, I like that too because I mean, as you know, I'm a big comic book guy, but
yeah,
and the way like various comic book companies created universes, and you can have these characters with these guys, and like something that started over in this series carries over to this other thing, and of course, Marvel's doing that in a masterful way because their Netflix shows, their regular TV shows, and all the movies are one big like continuum that all the characters exist in, and I've always been a big fan of that,
Yeah, DC seems to be fucking lost in the shuffle, dude. Like now they're announcing that they're doing these other movies independently that are not part of the universe, like a new Joker origin story by Martin Scorsese.
I heard about that. Yeah, but that's not connected though, right? With any of the other Batman stuff, apparently.
No, yeah, it's gonna have a new Joker, new actor, new Batman, I guess, or it won't have Batman. I don't think. I think it'll focus solely on the crime lifestyle of the Joker, which would be cool.
Well, they definitely got the right guy, the right director for that. I mean, Scorsese as I think the only work of his that I really enjoy is like when he's doing crime. It's like never was a big fan of like The Aviator or any of that other stuff, but when he's in dealing with crime, that's like where he shines. You know what I mean?
Well, he's the master of it. I mean, he's been doing it for so long. Like some of the best movies, Goodfellas, and then again, they are great movies, but I feel a little biased because I'm from Jersey, so a lot of these movies actually like I connect to on a personal level too.
Yeah,
just because of the experiences, like even The Sopranos. I love The Sopranos not because everyone else loves The Sopranos. It's just because I'm looking around. I'm like, I know that building, I know where they are. I recognize that.
So you went to Psycho Las Vegas, right?
Oh my god, dude. Yeah.
Was that fun or what?
So I had this whole idea in my head about Psycho Las Vegas. I bought the H4N, I bought all this shit, and I'm like, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to interview a bunch of people. And, Orange Amps got me a press pass. So I took my girl's camera, this nice camera, and I'm going to take some pictures, be a fucking media dude. And within like 2 hours of getting there, I realized that none of that was going to happen. I started running into people. I'm like, oh, hey, what's up? What up? And, we get back to the hotel room, put all the gear down, and, we started smoking weed and drinking and go downstairs. And apparently the press pass that I had still would not allow me to bring a camera through security. So there goes that idea. They wouldn't let me through with the camera, so no pictures. And then I had all the podcast gear, and I kept setting up little meetings like, hey, meet me at the room. We're going to, we'll smoke and we'll record something. And it would just evolve into a party. Like somebody, we walked into Kelly from Mothership. We went in his room, and there's like 5 people in there, and they're fucking, partying. So I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to fucking pull out mics right now and shit. We're all chilling. We're having a good time. I'm not going to, And yeah, it ended up just being that the whole time, just hangout sessions and like talking to people, which is good. It's networking and building relationships and all that stuff. But yeah, I did not produce as much content as I wanted out of that trip.
What were some of the bands that you caught that you're into? Like, did you see everybody?
Oh man, so the first band I saw was Chelsea Wolf, and it was fucking amazing. But again, I had smoked and I took some edibles, and I had been delirious from a long drive. Like my drive was an extra hour and a half because there was an accident on the highway.
Oh man.
So yeah. So I was delirious from the road, hungry and all this shit. So I walk in to see Chelsea Wolf, and she put me in a zone because her music is very specific. It's very ethereal, very spooky, and but beautiful. And it really just put me in a mindset, like just zoned out. Then I saw Chemists. And they fucking rocked it. Those dudes, man. Have you heard Chemists?
Yeah. Okay. They're pretty cool actually. I was checking them out on that last tour we did, just in the van.
Nice. Yeah, man. They're getting bigger and bigger. Zach is the drummer. He's the head brewer of True Brewing out in Denver, and they make fucking great beer. And they have like one of the very few, if not They're not the only, I don't think, but very few metal breweries. And yeah, no, they've been kicking ass. I saw them. They rocked it. I brought the Orange Amps dude Alex out there to see them, and he loved them. So I think they're trying to work something out together.
Cool.
I don't know. And then I saw Cult Leader, and they were phenomenal. I saw Pelican at like one in the morning out in a pool.
Damn.
That was fucking magical. I'll tell you that. They were crushing it.
Yeah, I love Pelican, man. Like we've toured with them a few times, and those guys are really good friends of mine. They're a great band.
Yeah, dude. And Dallas is a fucking sweetheart.
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah, we hung out. We tried to hang out afterwards, but there's just so much chaos. Everybody's everywhere, you know, and I ended up going to dinner with Brent Hines, and shit got crazy there, and I'm not going to go into detail, but it was an interesting night. And then, yeah, I saw Sleep, but they had some really bad technical difficulties, man. It took them like 30, 40 minutes after their set time to fucking open the curtain.
Oh, man.
They kept having like buzz issues. Well, I mean, motherfuckers got like 100 cabs on stage. Of course you're going to have some buzz.
Yeah.
A little bit of buzz here and there. It's insane. Let's see who else that I can think of. I don't know, man. There was a lot of music to be had, a lot of drinking, a lot of weed, a lot of chilling by the pool. It was pretty hot. Yeah.
So it was like 3 days or something like that, right?
Yeah, it was a 3-day festival. Actually, they started Thursday with like local shows. Like I think Mustard Gas and Roses played on Thursday.
Oh, nice.
Somewhere at a smaller place. I don't know if it was in the hotel. It might have been in the hotel. I don't know. I wasn't there Thursday. I showed up Friday. But yeah, it's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, full on shows. And this is, you know, at the Hard Rock in the casino. You know, the casino floor is just battle vests and fucking leather. That's all you see everywhere. And it was pretty fucking awesome. You know, I sat at the bar for a few minutes. They had a little video poker table, and I'm sitting next to like Braun and Stanford Parker, and all these dudes are just sitting there, and they're like, "Hey, you know, if you just play really slowly, you can drink for free." I'm like, holy shit! I spent like 2 hours just there playing back and forth with $15, you know, and just had like 7 beers. Yeah.
Wow. Now, is this going to be an annual? Is this going to be an annual thing?
I think so, and I think they're doing one in L.A.
Because I remember, I think it's the same people. There used to be a Psycho California festival too, and I'm not sure. I mean,
it's the same team.
Oh, okay, yeah. So they're going to go back between like L.A. and like Vegas or something like that.
Yeah, I think it would make sense to have one every 6 months. You know, do one in Vegas, and then 6 months later, do one in L.A., and then back and forth. I think that would be awesome.
Wow, it's pretty cool.
That was a really killer lineup, man. Like I that was the closest lineup to something you would see in like a European festival. Like every time I look at a European festival lineup, I'm like, motherfucker, it's every band.
Yeah. Yeah, it's almost like Roadburn or Hellfest or something like that. Because like, didn't Alice Cooper play too?
No, Cooper. No, it was King Diamond.
King Diamond, that's what it was. Yeah, it was some. I remember some, legend played too.
Yeah, dude. I only caught like glimpses of that, but I was pretty toasty at that point. It's not just, it's also walking around all day. We're, back and forth. We ended up walking through the Bellagio and like Paris and all that stuff, just completely faded, just walking around, like people watching, like, what is happening here?
Yeah, because Vegas it's funny that it was in Vegas, because it's not really the most like metal town,
Not at all. But it was super cool to see everybody just roaming around, all these metal dudes, very obvious metal dudes, with the bandanas and the, spiky studded fucking belt and studded bracelets and all that shit. I can't fashion myself as well as these cats. I'm always shorts and a t-shirt.
Yeah,
that's
totally.
All you get.
I'm the same way, man. I'm not much for like, outfits really,
I know they help, I know they help certain people and bands that need it, like some people need it. Some people's personalities aren't that great, so that you have to find another way to bring them in, like check out my sweet back patch and you talk about that. I talked to this one dude because he had a giant fucking, what's his name? Larry David, I think it was, on his back.
Wow.
A back patch. I'm like, okay, you're fucking hilarious. Come here.
A Larry David back patch. That's pretty unique, man.
Yeah, I saw that at a Summer Slaughter. I was like, hell yeah, look at this guy. Talk to me about the McGregor-Mayweather fight, by the way.
Dude, yeah. I watched it the next day on YouTube because I wasn't about to like throw away my money on the fight, really. But
yeah,
actually, the night of the fight, I was in Sayreville, New Jersey, watching Silvertune play. Who's it's the new Typo Negative band, and two of our friends, Joe and Henry, play in the band, and it's Kenny and Johnny from Typo Negative. It's their new thing. It was their very first show, and they played at Starland Ballroom in Sayreville, Jersey. And so we drove down to that and checked that out, and instead of watching the McGregor fight, so I watched it I was following on my phone, like what I knew that he lost, you know what I mean? And so the next day I watched the whole fight on YouTube, and I was just like, yeah, it was pretty much what I expected. I mean, you know, it's I think like anyone who's reading more into what they actually saw, you know, and taking away that McGregor might have a career as a boxer is completely delusional, in my opinion.
Yeah. Andrew and I went back and forth quite a bit. Our friend Andrew, but it's different when you're posting stuff in the middle of the night after drinking and watching the fight. So we couldn't get our points across. But yeah, of course, McGregor's not going to be a boxer. Of course, he was going to get schooled. However, I still think fucking hitting him 111 times is more than most people have.
Sure.
And yes, maybe that is Mayweather playing with him and letting him get hit, but like it's still the numbers there. Like that's a fact now. That's written down. Like it's in the books.
Yeah.
And then you know, the fact that Mayweather didn't just smoke him in the first 4 or 5 rounds. Like sure, you could take a couple rounds to gauge him and see, but you know, by the 4th or 5th round you should have known that dude's game plan by then. And if you're you're fucking top of your fucking game, Mayweather, you should have just fucking ended it. You know what I mean? Like, why are you extending it to 10 rounds?
But I mean, I don't think Mayweather actually is at the top of his game. And the dude's 41 years of age and like been retired for 2 years, and you know he's not maybe the 32-year-old Mayweather would have been able to do that, but you know, age is a factor, man, when you're at that elite level of competition, you know, and I just, you know, McGregor's made a career out of just pinpointing these guys on their way out and fighting them. And I just think it's like, you know, I mean, seriously, like Jose Aldo. I mean, he fought Jose Aldo probably on the backslide of his career, on his descent, you know, I mean, he passed his prime, you know, the dude.
Sure.
You know, and same thing with Eddie Alvarez. I mean, Eddie Alvarez has had a whole other career before his brief stint as UFC champion. You know, and it's like, I don't know. I mean, now he's talking about there's this noise about fighting another retired boxer, Paulie Malignaggi, and I think that's like completely makes no sense to me at all. I mean, aside from maybe like making a quick buck, you know, on having someone fight, you know, an Italian and an Irishman fighting in New York on St. Patty's Day. You know, it's fucking silly.
Jesus Christ. Okay, that does sound like money, though.
It sounds like money, but it's like it's not like part of the competitive environment that I really enjoy about combat sports. You know what I mean? It's more of a spectacle.
For sure.
So, yeah, I don't know. I just
that's what McGregor is, though, and it has been from the beginning. Like that's Uncle Dana's pet project of having a WWE superstar in the UFC, basically.
Right.
You know, but he's entertaining, and I'm one of those guys that I watch WWE. I don't give a fuck. I know it's not real, but people still get hurt.
Sure. No, I mean, I give my respect to those guys for their athleticism, but I never was a fan of pro wrestling, like that style of pro wrestling. I just, I mean, it just was not something I ever really watched as a kid. I mean, I was a wrestler when I was a kid, so I just like, you know, like folk style, freestyle wrestling, you know, and I just, a lot of the kids on my team liked it, but I just never really got into it. And, I don't know. I never appreciated that. It was like I knew that it was like a scripted result, and I guess it was a little entertaining, but like I had comic books and science fiction movies for that too, So
yeah, I gotta give props to WWE for making me want to become a wrestler.
Yeah.
And making me actually pursue it for a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it's something you have to watch when you're a kid. If you didn't watch it when you were a kid, watching it as an adult is going to be a very difficult task.
Oh yeah, big time. Yeah.
Like I already understand like the nature of it. Like back in the 80s, in the early 90s, we had the fucking over the top personalities like on cocaine, fucking Macho Man and Hulk Hogan screaming at each other about the universe,
Yeah.
Like there's so many promos of those dudes talking into the camera where they're on mushrooms.
Oh, big time, man. Jimmy Superflash Snuka. I mean, that guy looked like he was on like 3 or 4 cycles of steroids and about 6 lines of cocaine, whenever you saw him, and 9 cups of coffee. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that dude murdered his girlfriend. Apparently, allegedly.
It's funny. Like, I don't really, everyone attributes steroids to stuff like that, but I kind of feel like it might be the head trauma that makes these guys go nuts. You know what I mean?
I'm sure it's a nice combination of the two. I mean, the steroids, depending on what kind of steroids they're doing, some of them are good for, helping you recover from asthma or injury, but there are steroids that are just meant to piss you off so you can fucking do weights.
Yeah.
Like the Brock Lesnar steroids.
Yeah, definitely. That guy looks like a shaved gorilla, man. That dude's gigantic,
It's fucking John Jones calling out Brock Lesnar. Like, right?
I was kind of interested in that, actually, to be honest.
I would have watched it, but there's also... Then he gets popped, and he gets the belt stripped, and it's like, oh, come on, man. Can we just get, like, that fight anyway, and both of them jacked up on steroids?
Yeah, they should fight in Japan, where it's like,
Fuck yeah, dude, in Pride or something. Like, just bring back Pride. Fuck it. They could do it. They own it, right?
Well, the guy, Saki Kabara, the guy who owned Pride back in the day, he owns Rizin, which is like that Japanese promotion that Fedor fought in.
Oh, okay.
I mean, Fedor, it's clear, obviously, that he's not, competitive anymore because he got,
Oh, man, he got schooled by fucking Mitrione. Like, really?
Yeah, Mitrione took him apart, man. And nothing against Matt Mitrione, but, like, Fedor is...
Yeah. But
way
it's
past his
Fedor
prime.
we're talking about.
We're talking about Fedor, yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, why not have John Jones fight in Japan, against Brock Lesnar, and they could both be jacked beyond belief, like, on steroids.
Hell yeah.
I think murder each other,
Dana could make that happen. Now that he branched out into the boxing world and made it happen, like that should be next, bro. Bring back Pride or call it Pride if you want. If they have the rights to the name, just fucking call it Pride. Like, hey, the return of Pride, and it's gonna be John Jones versus fucking Brock Lesnar on super steroid heavyweight, and then have a few other fucking crazy matchups too, like older dudes that are all jacked up, like Vitor Belfort back on steroids. Fucking let's get Uberim in there. What's up?
I like Uberim though, like clean. Honestly, I think he's doing great, like without steroids.
Well, he has taken a couple really bad knockouts.
Yeah.
Since he dropped the steroids, but he is doing good. He is winning fights. So, but I mean, think about Uberim, dude. Like not Overeem, Uberim.
Yeah.
When he was fucking jacked to the gills, like that's. I want to see him fight. I want to see him fight Vitor Belfort. Both of them jacked.
Light heavyweight or something like that. That'd be funny. Vitor is a heavyweight.
That'd be insane. But yeah, I don't know.
But going back to the McGregor thing, it's like, and now they're talking about him fighting Nate Diaz as like his next MMA fight in the UFC, and I'm just like, dude, so what? Nate jumps over like the winner of Kevin Lee and Tony Ferguson to fight for the championship. I mean, it's like, I love Nate Diaz. I'm a huge Diaz brothers fan, but there's nothing really fair about that, in my opinion. And, like, it just kind of makes a travesty. Because, like, in one hand, the UFC is trying to be, like, a legitimate sport. Be, like, pro level.
NFL or MLB or NFL, UFC. Yeah.
And then on the other hand, they're doing these, like, sort of, like, sensational events, which I think are like working against them being taken seriously, you know. And that's like you can't really have it both ways, I think, you know. So why not?
Yeah, you gotta leave some of that shit to Bellator, you know. Bellator likes to put on those fucking ridiculous fights of old retired fighters.
Well, I kind of like the way Bellator does it because they have their own hierarchy of like, you know, contenders and belt holders and champions and all that stuff, and then they'll grab like Ken Shamrock and have him fight somebody, you know, and as like this, you know, main event, and neither
Tito
one of them
Ortiz.
they're not ranked anywhere. Neither one of those guys are going to be champs, you know.
No.
And there's
who's Tito fighting? I think he's coming back to fight. Like, he fixed his neck with the surgery, and now he wants to fight somebody again.
Yeah, that's right. Who the hell is he fighting? Yeah,
it's either Chael or Wanderlei. No, it's not Wanderlei.
Both of those fights already happened. Chael defeated Wanderlei Silva, which I thought was strange. Tito defeated Chael. And I don't recall what Tito's next fight is, but I do believe that he does have something on the books for Bellator.
Yeah. I don't know. I you know what? I think there are too many UFC fights on pay-per-view and shit like that. Like, there's too much going on for me to keep up with the way I used to.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, you know, it's, especially now the prices keep going up, man. You know, it's like it's like $60 for pay-per-view now. It's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I tried streaming the McGregor fight with Mayweather. I know that's not the same thing, but, you know, $100 pay-per-views now is going to be the new standard. You know what I mean? If they have a big enough card, they're going to be like, yeah, you know what? We can pull 100. Fuck it. You know, we sold a bunch of the Mayweather ones, so why not? And I'm just not going to do that.
Nah.
There's a lot of streams on Reddit. You can just fucking stream it for free. Wait, I'm sorry if I'm like putting that out there, but
I like that though. I like that because, you know, it's like, fuck the system, man. You know, it's like, so you're going to try to take my money for some bullshit like McGregor Mayweather fight, then I'm going to fucking take your money by finding a pirated way of doing it. You know, fuck that shit. And like, I watched it the next morning on YouTube, the entire thing. It was like some Russian like stream with no commentary that I can understand. So
yeah. Oh man, yeah. That's it's, you know, I see a bunch of people doing other shit too. Like on my Facebook feed, there's always dudes touting about this fucking Dragon Box, where it's like a cable box that you can watch everything for free. Apparently.
Oh, I heard about that. Yeah, there's
but like,
there's a couple of those types of boxes floating out there.
Like, that was big business for the fight because, you know, you go around selling those and be like, hey, yeah, it's 25 more bucks than the fight, but you also get HBO and you get Netflix and you get this and that, and it's like, oh well, shit, you get the NFL Sunday ticket and all that shit, you know.
Down in the studio at Rutan Studio, he's got this Thor stream or some shit like that. It's like some box that he bought off of Amazon that's like connected to some stream from like the Czech Republic or something like that, and you get like movies that are in the theater.
Jesus Christ!
And I'm like, he's like, oh yeah, it's legal. It's like from some like you know, overseas like connection or something. I'm like,
yeah,
all right,
it's not cool. It's not legal.
I mean, I don't know. I mean,
it's still not legal, but they can't do anything to you because you're not hosting it, you're not providing it, you're just watching it, and it's there. So they can't really take you to jail or fine you or anything, but it's still illegal.
Well, you know, people have been stealing music for fucking decades.
Oh
now.
yeah.
So
yeah.
for me, I'm just like, I'm
payback.
not gonna cry like for Dana White and WME if they lose a few $100,000 for pay-per-view. It's like, you know, no one gave a shit about music. It's like, oh well, people, you know, it's file sharing, or like, you know, everyone's entitled to free music, and it's just like, well, you're kind of not, because now you've taken away a complete source of income for people out there that are trying to actually do what they want to do, you know, professionally. And
yeah,
I don't give a fuck about streaming shit, man. I'll stream whatever, you know. I don't care if, you know, I'll pay for pay-per-views too, man. But it's like, I'm not going to pay $100 to see Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather fight, especially knowing what I knew I knew I was going to end. I knew it was going to end exactly the way it did, you know. Yeah. I don't want to give either one of those guys my dollars, you know?
Yeah. No, I hear you. I didn't expect there to be a different ending to that fight. I just I was just surprised what he actually pulled off. But then I see all these conspiracy videos online now about him pulling his punches or some shit and it being all rigged. I'm like, well, that wouldn't shock me either, man. It's fucking boxing. It's been rigged for years. You know, my household, my uncle and my grandfather and all those people used to be into boxing, like, and that was my life growing up. And then it became like a fucking, it was awful. Like I've lost interest after, like, I don't even know, I guess Mike Tyson era. After that, I was just done. I mean, I would watch fights here and there, but UFC took over my life at that point, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I like boxing. I wouldn't say that I'm like, the best, most knowledgeable person about boxing, but I enjoy it. And I mean, I just enjoy like combat sports, and I just think that, but I'm not a boxing guy, you know what I mean? There's some people who are all about it. And I definitely am not one of those people who defends boxing as like the end all of fighting, because I know for a fact it's not, you know what I mean? But it's a sport, and that's the thing. It's like when you watch a boxing match, you're not really watching a fight. You're watching a system that has agreed upon rules and regulations, and these two combatants are operating within this system, and that's why it is what it is. That's why a guy like Floyd Mayweather can operate that system better than pretty much anyone else out there.
Yeah.
And there's something very, very impressive about that. It's like, yeah, it's not a fight. A fight has got every technique you can think of, to use, and boxing is just guys throwing punches, and moving.
Yeah. Or avoiding shots or doing feints and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah. But
yeah, I mean, I've honestly, it's been weird, man. The last couple of years, I've actually gotten back into pro wrestling. I never, like, I watched it as a kid, and then my entire 20s, it was not it was not a part of my life at all. But now there's like an interesting thing going on where there's this Japanese New Japan Pro Wrestling that they're fucking hitting the fuck out of each other. Like, there's a dude who apparently can no longer wrestle because he took a headbutt that he crushed his skull in or some shit. Yeah. Like, it's insane. And that is super entertaining to me because I have no attachments to whoever wins or loses because I don't know the characters or anything. There's just two dudes going out there and smacking and kicking each other in the face really, really hard. And so I was like, all right, that's cool. And then the WWE aspect of it, they have become more knowledgeable. They've accepted the fact that we have the internet and that people aren't idiots and we're not going to believe your stupid storylines. So, and not only that, but there's like dirt sheets and people that are leaking information about what they plan to do with the storyline.
Oh, right. Yeah.
But they're aware of it now, and they're starting to play on that and fucking trick people. Like, you think this guy's going to win, but nope. We switched it up, so it's less predictable, and that's actually kind of entertaining me now because I'm like, all right, it's entertainment. Just take it as that. And,
yeah.
And it's still dudes getting hurt. Like, not that I like to see people get hurt, but it's just it's people flying around, athleticism. There's some crazy maneuvers. The Japanese, the New Japan Pro Wrestling, they do some crazy athletics, man. Flying around, flipping, and kicking each other in awkward positions, and I don't know. It's
I believe me, I appreciate it. It's just it's not something that I got into ever really. And I mean, I give my respect to those guys for being great athletes and the grinds. I mean, those dudes have a lot of shows every year. It's like pretty tough. Schedule.
They're working hard, dude.
It's just that. Maybe someday the New Japan stuff sounds interesting. Like maybe I should check that out or something.
Yeah, you talked to Josh Barnett on your podcast, right?
Yeah, he's done both fight shoots and works as in pro wrestling, like back in the early part of his career. So he knows all about New Japan and all this other stuff. Yeah. Yeah,
dude. He does the the commentating, but in English for the New Japan stuff, and he actually talking to him actually is what got me back into like New Japan. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna watch all these old videos. They're awesome, dude. There's some really crazy people out there.
Where can you find those? Are they like on YouTube?
There's a lot of them on YouTube or Daily Motion.
Okay.
Daily Motion has a bunch. But yeah, and like Kenny Omega is one of the newer guys, one of the newer names. If you want to see like a really hard hitting match, it's Kenny Omega and Okada, and they did 3 fights, but I think the third one's the craziest. So you could just watch the third one and you'll be fine. And then if you like that, then you can go back and watch the other ones.
Huh. Kenny Omega. That's an awesome name.
Yeah. It's funny to see because most of their wrestlers are Japanese, and then you see Kenny Omega is like, he's got his crew of like Americans that are out there trying to make a scene, and they're popular. They're hugely popular. They're different, for them. It's like we've seen all of our countrymen fight. Like now this is interesting. Like we've got dynamics,
Wow. I think I'll check that out. I mean, I know Josh does the commentary on it, and that was something that got me interested in it because he's awesome, man. Like he's like smart guy, really cool, very knowledgeable about all aspects of this stuff. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's definitely a big draw for me.
Yeah, man. He loves comic books. He loves metal. I mean, like that's a good brother.
Hell yeah, man, definitely.
Oh man. I wrote down here. I think the government is making humans. I don't know why I wrote that.
You think the government's making humans?
Yeah. As I see a lot of doppelgangers, man. I see a lot of people tag me in pictures. They're like, "Oh, dude, look, I saw you here," and I'm like, "Well, I'm in California, so that's not me at all." But I don't know, man. Are they making more humans, like duplicates?
I just think that there's like only a certain number of looks that people have in the human race, and like somewhere along the line, there's some like there's some doubles. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely have a very generic look. I've been trying to figure out how to fix that, but like the bald, bearded, glasses wearing, metal dude is very common.
Yeah. But there's even like, people that you see that look like famous people, and you're like, oh, well, that's,
Yeah, a lot of them work in the porn industry.
Yeah, there's like that's the discount version of this particular actor or whatever that they got, you know what I mean? And it's like
discount version.
Yeah.
The Payless Shoes version.
Yeah, so it's like I just think that there's only a certain number of looks. There might be millions of different looks that humans have, but there's still a finite number, and I end up getting, with a population that's almost 5 billion, you get some duplicates in there, But it could be true that the government is making people. You never know.
Dude, I need to learn how to do that. I want to be Dr. Manhattan and just kind of be able to do a bunch of shit at once. Because my mind wants to do all those things. I got to record a podcast, but I got to go do this, and I want to go over here, and I want to go to that show and this show. Moving out to LA really changed the whole show dynamic for me from Miami, dude, because when you guys came to town in Miami, I was able to go because there was really no other metal show, or maybe one other metal show. But out here, it's like there's 7 shows every night, every single night of the week, and it's all bands of like friends or people, good bands.
Oh yeah.
And it's rough.
Well, also Miami, it's like a long trek to get all the way down to Miami and then go all the way back. You know what I mean? It's like
yeah, that's why there's never any shows down there. Like a lot of the tours skip Miami because it's just not worth it sometimes. And then you get down there and there isn't a huge metal following in Miami, and there's a good amount, but the more obscure your genre gets, the less people are going to show up to your show.
Yeah.
And there's nothing worse than driving 8 hours to Churchill's to play in front of 5 people. Like that's a rough, situation for anyone.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Then also Florida in general is pretty rough, like touring through anyway. The other cities aren't really that much better. It's like, Tampa's okay.
Yeah, that's true.
I can't think of any other places that we've actually done well in as far as besides maybe Tampa and,
Maybe Orlando. Orlando had a decent metal scene for a bit.
Yeah, Orlando was okay. Like Gainesville is like shot for us. That's not so great.
Gainesville's shot for everyone, dude. I've mentioned this before on the show, but like I saw ISIS, Torch, and Intronaut in Gainesville in a fucking bar with a pool table in the middle with like 20 people there.
Wow, that's sad.
Yeah. I'm like, ISIS, Intronaut, and Torch. What? And you guys, there's no one here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I drove all the way the fuck up there from Miami because they weren't coming down. So I'm like, I'm not missing that. Fuck. A couple of friends jumped in a car. We all went up there.
But L.A. now, like, you know, when you're living in Long Beach, like that whole area, like even San Diego, it's like there's tons of shows all the time.
Oh yeah, yeah, dude. I barely go down to San Diego, and when I do, it's usually to hang out with Adam. I go down there and we'll go hit up a baseball game, or we'll go watch a show. Last time I went, we saw Deftones and Thrice. And Rise Against, I think it was. That was the other band. But I don't think we didn't really stick around for Rise Against. We were both pretty shot and, you know, wanted out. But it's crazy, man. Living out here, there's so many shows to go to, and a lot of the times I just end up not going anywhere. I'm like, you know, I'm just gonna chill here and do some work.
Yeah, the playing with the Deftones actually on Ozfest, man. It's gonna be exciting. Can't wait.
Oh, yeah. I want to go out there. That's my birthday weekend, dude.
Really?
Yeah. Huh. So I'm planning on going out there. It's like a 45-minute drive, but I don't really care. I've done it before. I did Ozfest last year, I think it was, with Municipal Waste. Dave Whitty, all them played. So we hung out there. That was fun. Opeth played. That was fucking magical at like 4 PM outside in the sun.
Yeah, I mean, we're probably going to be playing. I mean, we're not going on first on the stage we're playing, but it's like we're like somewhere in the middle, so I'm sure it's going to be daylight out when we play.
Yeah, there's just something about that I can't get behind, dude. Like certain bands, like you guys, or Opeth, or Ghost, like those bands you need to watch them indoors, all the lights out, maybe some like really cool lighting from the stage, and that's it. Like it kills the vibe when there's just like blazing hot and the sun's in your face and you're trying to enjoy Opeth.
Yeah, maybe that's why it's in November now, because it's like at least it's not going to be like 90 degrees out when we play. You know, it's going to be cool. But
yeah, especially up there, it'll be like 70. Yeah, it should be nice.
But the still, it's pretty exciting, man. I'm pretty excited about the whole thing. It's the stage we're playing the second stage with Creator, 1349, High on Fire, Iron Reagan, like I think.
Oh fuck yeah, dude! Are you kidding?
It's gonna be sick, you know. And then the main stage, it's, you know, Ozzy, the Deftones. Like it should be fucking cool, man.
Yeah, I'm definitely going out there, man. I'll find my way in, whether it's via, you know, press pass or one of the band's guest list. Hopefully comes through, but I'll be there celebrating the weekend, and I'll definitely come check you out and see the band, dude. Of course.
Yeah, it's like I would say that I would try to help you out by getting you in, but I have no idea. We're probably not even going to have like a guest list or anything like that. You know?
Yeah, it's a little rough, dude. I know. I've learned over over doing this podcast and over the years, I've learned like I can't just ask anyone for guest pass. First of all, I'm not like that, and also I know who can and can't do shit at the moment. You know what I mean? Like, and even then, even like the day of, it'll fucking flip around. Like, oh yeah, I got you, bro. And then I get there, and it's like, oh, they don't even have the guest list yet. So I'm just gonna hang tight, you know. So I get it, man. I'll be there. Let's party.
Yeah, man. I'm looking forward to it. You know, we're touring on the way out there too. Actually, I think half of the dates we're doing on the way out are with Creator, so it should be really cool.
Fuck yeah!
Yeah, that just
awesome.
got announced. It just got announced Friday. The whole tour out there is once again with our buddies 1349, and then right around, I think it's starting in Texas. The whole tour is 1349, Creator, Iron Reagan, and us. So it should be a real fun run with those guys. You know,
yeah, that's sick, dude.
Iron Reagan. I mean, that's Tony and Ryan Parrish, like guys I've known for quite a while. So I'm excited to. We've never played with them before, so it should be really cool to do a few dates together on the road. You know, hang out.
Hell yeah. Do you like spicy food?
I love
like hot sauce.
I love hot sauce and spicy food.
Have you tried Tony's hot sauce yet?
No, I haven't.
Oh man,
it's good.
Okay, so he'll probably have some on tour with him. So try it. It's fucking delicious, but it's really hot, and it's a creeper. So like you'll taste it, you'll be like, oh, it tastes great, and then like a minute later, you're burning alive.
Is that got like ghost peppers in it or something like that, or?
Yeah, it's got ghost peppers.
Fuck that, man. Like I don't know. I just like, yeah. I mean, as long as it's not sweet. I hate when you get a hot sauce that's obviously got like sugar in it. I like tasting peppers and the actual stuff. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'm down. I'm down. I'm game for whatever, man. I'm sure I'll try it out. I'm sure I'll. Not since you gave me a heads up on it, I'm sure I'll be a little bit more conservative with my dosage.
Yeah, don't put a huge blot of it. Like, just take a little bit first. It's tasty. I'll tell you. It does have that peppery, garlicky thing going on, but it's also super hot.
All right, cool. Well, that's good. I'm glad. You know, I can see myself being like, oh yeah, man, and just like dousing something with it and just like not having such a great time afterwards.
Yeah. Hell yeah. What time is it? 12:10?
Yeah. You got to head out to the Comic-Con, right?
I do. I got to go do some coverage there, hopefully, for, they gave me a press pass and go talk to some people. I went yesterday, actually, and booked an interview with, not an interview, but a podcast. But when it's someone I don't really know well, then it becomes an interview, kind of, because I have to go look up information and ask them pertinent questions. But this dude Ryan, I'm not going to butcher his last name, but it's Ryan. It starts with an M. I think it's Miner or something, but it's a German last name. He's the visual director for the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Oh wow, damn.
Yeah, he was just chilling there, and he was at his booth just selling posters, and I'm like, what the fuck? And I talked to him for a minute. I'm like, hey man, you down to do a podcast? He's like, yeah. So I'm going to try and get that into books. The guy had the new Thanos from the movie with the Infinity Gauntlet.
Uh-huh.
He made the posters for Comic-Con and for D23 of him, holding it up like the original cover from the comic books.
Right.
But with Josh Brolin in it, and I bought one of those. I could not buy it.
It's pretty sweet.
I love Thanos, man. That's like my favorite character. I'm so stoked they're bringing him to screen. Like, it's just, all right, let's see. Don't fuck it up. That's all I'm asking.
Now, Thanos is pretty tight, man. I'm a fan of that villain. Like, that whole storyline is really cool. So
yeah. Who else did I see? Oh, I met some dude. I think his name is Samuel. He's the artist. He's done art for like Whitechapel, a couple other metal bands, and he's got a podcast, something about Doom to Fail or something.
Uh-huh.
And I think it's called Doom to Fail, and I might be doing that. I might be a guest on that soon, according to him. And then we're going to do one each. Like, I'll be a guest on his, and he'll jump on mine, or maybe we'll do another SWAPCAST. I don't know.
This is cool. This is a good idea, man. I like doing this. It's pretty fucking fun, man.
Hell yeah. For my listeners, Savage Gold Coffee, right? At Savage Gold. For social media stuff.
Yeah.
Look it up. Google Savage Gold Coffee. I've had the coffee. It's fucking amazing. Don't fuck around. Tombs on tour, like you said, with 1349 and a couple of the dudes. So check that out for sure. What else do you have going on? Everything Went Black Media.
Yeah. That's the site. Actually, from that site, you can get to everything. There's okay. You can get to the coffee store. You can get to all the podcasts and blog posts and all that. Also you can get the Necromaniacs podcast, which is my horror podcast I do with my buddy Mike. And that one's still kind of in the beginning stages. Like, I got maybe 20 some odd episodes up, and the schedule that we're trying to do is every month, and it's like talk about movies and exploitation films and, just miscellaneous horror related stuff and comics and sci-fi, stuff like that. It's fun. It's like a fun podcast, Not everything on Everything Went Black is fun sometimes, but it's interesting. At least I try to make it interesting,
For sure. I enjoy when you have Andrew on and you guys talk about fights. It's fun.
Yeah, And for the Everything Went Black listeners, it's the Rock and Roll Beer Guy podcast. And are you on iTunes and Mixcloud and all that sort of stuff? Or
Yeah. I'm on. I host through Libsyn, so they post it everywhere. We got Google Play and iTunes, Stitcher, all that stuff. Rock and Roll is traditional. Just rock, the letter N, roll Beer Guy, all one word. You go to rockandrollbeerguy.com. I make little posts about each episode. Sometimes I drop little, like, I did a set list once. It was like an hour of music from all the guests that I've had so far. And then I want to do more of that. Like, I'm going to start, I'll grab, like, Liam. I'll be like, hey, dude, give me 15 songs that you really, really like, and I'll put them together and just drop them on people so they have music to listen to. Kind of like my own version of the Spotify Discover playlist or something.
How do you do that? Do you do that with like SoundCloud or something like that, or?
No, I put it together on Pro Tools. I just get all the songs, put them together as one long track, and then I'll record a little intro of me talking shit and do like the ad reads and stuff, and put it up and just upload it to Libsyn. And I haven't gotten any cease and desists, so fuck it.
That's cool. Yeah. I actually I put a couple of playlists up. I do that infrequently, but it's on the Mixcloud of because I have this podcast also is on Mixcloud, which is like kind of like a DJ platform, but a lot of podcasts are on there too. And I'll do a playlist for a season or just have a guest you want occasionally. Those are fun to do, man. I like those.
Yeah, man, it's all about spreading music, like whatever I'm listening to at the time. Like, I'd love. In the beginning, I was doing a lot of local bands. I was adding them to the episodes so people can check them out. Fuck it, just help out independent artists that aren't you may not know about, but you might enjoy. Yeah, and I've been doing like album reviews too, just trying to do stuff, man. I've been trying to figure out like what people care about. I did a Dead Cross record because they sent me a copy of it early, and you just put that out there. I'm going to start maybe doing more live videos, of doing live interviews with live videos on like Instagram live feed or something. I'm just trying to get people involved because I feel like I'm getting really good guests, but it's taking its time to build the audience,
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, is grabbing people's attention and doing it with regularity. And I think that like, just like everything else, it's like regularity, and having like being committed to continue doing it and being disciplined about your schedule when you get things out. And that's probably the most important thing with any of this stuff, really,
Hell yeah. I mean, that's something I put myself in that position. I was like, look, after the first few episodes, I was doing one a month. And I'm like, you know what? I have enough where I can do one a week, and I'm going to do it every Tuesday. And I'm going to do it every Tuesday at like 9 in the morning here Pacific time, because that's lunchtime for a lot of people on the East Coast, and a lot of people are driving to work in the morning. So I just set that schedule myself and just try and do it every Tuesday at 9, because it sets a goal and it makes it drives you to actually try and achieve it.
I agree. I'm all for goal setting, and even if I don't have a guest, like I started doing that Man on the Silver Mountain podcast, which is like basically if I can't line up a guest, I just do a podcast on myself, just like talking about a variety. I make a list of shit I want to talk about. There's always news things going on inside the Tombs camp, and like stuff going on and creative things or current events or stuff like that, or even just, popular culture things. And I just try to, just so that there's something out there for people to get into like on a regular basis. And it's like just making that commitment, I guess, is like, probably one of the most important things.
Yeah, I've been thinking about doing that, like a Q&A, like have people submit questions and I'll answer some questions and do a solo cast or something. But yeah, I just haven't been able. I mean, I've been fortunate enough to have enough guests. I took a 1 week break recently for the Psycho Las Vegas thing. I had to take a break. I was just burnt out. I couldn't do editing. I couldn't do anything when I got back. So, but just consistency and trying to put the work out and try and do more work. I think that's the key to do anything in any industry, anything you're trying to do, whatever idea it is. Like, you want to be a writer, fucking write every single day of your life. You got to write something every day. And if you schedule it, it's even better. Set an alarm on your phone. Like, hey, it's 2:00. I got to write. And just fucking sit there and write shit.
That's the formula. I mean, you talk to anyone who's successful at anything, that's the formula that they use, is just keep doing it. Simple.
Keep fucking doing it.
It's simple, deceptively simple, yet so many people, including myself, fall prey to procrastination. But, that's the struggle.
Yeah. I mean, it's not. Nobody said it's easy in terms of keeping your your shit together. That's hard, but the concept is easy. You just do it. Just fucking do it. It's a super easy concept. But yeah, the struggle comes from pushing yourself to actually get out of the couch, go, splash some water in your face and go make some shit happen. Otherwise, it's not going to be handed to you. If it hasn't already been handed to you, like, you've born in a wealthy family, or, your last name is Trump or something, then, you actually have to get up and go to work. It's not going to be handed to you. So, yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
Well, fucking A, man. And, thanks everyone for listening, and, have a great time today at Comic-Con. I'll see you.
Thanks, man. Yeah, thanks for doing this. Thanks for, doing the SWAPCAST thing. This is a new idea for me. I've not tried, and I like it. I hope people like it. If you like it, fucking say some shit. Comment. Tell us that this was a good idea, or that it was a terrible idea.
All right, man. So yeah, I'll see you sooner than later, man. Because like I said, we're out on the West Coast every few months, it seems, and we're in LA all the time, and I probably will be going out there on my own for some business with ESP this month, maybe. So yeah, maybe we'll get a chance to hang out without the schedule of a show or a set to play or something like that,
Right. That's always key, because that's, I hate bugging people when they have some shit going on. Like, I want to talk to you and everything, but do your thing. I get it. It's business, and I'd rather hang out outside of a show for sure. But yeah, hit me up when you're in town, and either that or I'll be at the next Tomb show for sure.
Right on, bro.
All right.
It's suicide!